What's up, YouTube? So, people are always asking about light schedules with Bearded Dragons, and if you look behind me, I have my Bearded Dragon enclosures, and all the lights are off. So, actually, as I'm making this video, the lights should be kicking on, and it'll probably destroy the quality of this video, but hopefully it's at the end, and hopefully it doesn't mess up the video too much. So, I have 11 minutes to make this video before the lights kick on. So, let's get going. If you think about a Bearded Dragon's climate, where they're originally from, they're from a desert. They're getting sunlight during the summer months. They're getting sunlight for long periods of time, like 15, 16 hours. So I know during like brumation season and during like our winter, it's hard to do that. During our winter, when temperatures get down to 30, 20 degrees, having the lights on for longer is actually more beneficial to the Bearded Dragon because you don't have to worry about night temps getting too low because they're not going to have night temps for that long. Obviously, that also goes into play, like what temperature your room is. If you have a screen top, that obviously lets all the heat out, so you have to figure something out with that. So with Bearded Dragons, what you have to do is, what I do, I always have a 12-hour light schedule. And from that 12-hour light schedule, I deviate a couple hours on each side, depending on what my light schedule is outside, because obviously they're captive bred. They're seeing sunlight come through the windows. They know when it's morning. They're seeing the sunlight leave. They know when it's night. So even though they're from Australia, they still know what the night and day schedule is here in Kentucky. So all of that is atmospheric pressure. There's a lot of stuff that goes into play whenever it's daytime and nighttime that the Bearded Dragons can feel. So with that said, my Bearded Dragon light schedule is 12 hours. So during brumation season, which is September to March, depending on if they're in brumation or not, it's when I adjust that light schedule to be lower than 12 hours. So if the individual Bearded Dragon is in brumation, I'll cut that individual light to no hours a day. Some people decide to leave it on, some people don't. I just say don't leave it on for me because I have so many enclosures that it saves me a little bit of money on energy. So they don't care because they have to sleep, they're wanting to sleep, so I just turn off that enclosure altogether. Now, if I notice that they're up and about, I will turn the enclosure back on and they will have heat and UVB just like usual. And usually, I've made a brumation video in the past, but usually that happens for a couple days and then they go back to sleep, and that's just their brumation schedule. Everyone else is on a 12-hour light schedule. Now, because the time here does change with daylight savings time and all that, I do have to adjust the timer based off that lights that new time or whatever, shifting up forward or back an hour. So that doesn't really matter to them, but I have to do that in the timer. So it does. If I forget to do that, then it will mess with them because they're gonna be like, "Wow, I'm waking up an hour earlier than usual," or "I'm going to sleep an hour earlier than usual," or vice versa. So it does change it to them only if I forget to change the timer, which does happen. But usually it's like one day, and then I'm like, oh, all right, now I got to do it. So one day they're like all thrown all off on their time, and then the next day they're like, all right, back to normal. So with that said, when do I add more hours to their 12-hour light schedule? During the summer. So here in Kentucky, we usually get the sun starts coming up around 6 in the morning. During the warmer months, it usually doesn't go down till about almost 10. So if you think about how long that is 16 hours. Do I leave their lights on for 16 hours a day? No. So what I do during those months is I have my windows, the shades up, and what I do is, so I actually turn their lights on 30 minutes after the sun rises, and then I'll turn it off 30 minutes before the sun sets. The reason I do this is we aren't able to do this very often because the lights just turn off, right? It just goes from day to night like that. So what I try to do is give them a slow shift to night and a slow shift to morning, even though they already feel it, but it just makes it easier on them. I don't think they actually benefit from it. I just think it's a lot better than just opening your eyes and lights on, you know? So that's just what I do. So I do 15-hour days when the 16-hour days are happening outside. I'll do 15-hour days in their enclosures, and then I'll give them 30 minutes to ramp up and 30 minutes to ramp down. And like I said, it might not matter to them, but I think it's a little, I don't know. I feel like it's a little brutal to just, hey, it's daytime, lights on. Oh, it's nighttime, lights off, you know? So that's just my opinion. So you can do it however you want to do it. I'm just telling you how I do it. There's one right here and the lights aren't even on yet, and she's just staring at me. So she was already awake before. Obviously, I have this ring light on. I have a light on up there. So they're already like, all right, this guy is waking us up slowly. And this is kind of how I expect it to happen during the warmer months when I give them that 30-minute ramp, because they're experiencing light in the building. So that also means they're getting light in their enclosure. Now, if you look, I have little windows and stuff. So these little windows are in their hides, and their hides are removable. So the windows they stay because they're trimmed in here, but the hides are removable. I can put it anywhere. So they're not always going to have a window in their hide, but I do it for the purpose of when they're brumating, they're going to be in their hide. So I put this little window in there because I want to see what they're doing in their hide. Are they okay? Have they woken up? All of those questions are important to me during brumation season. Any other time, I could care less about those windows. I like them. I put them in there, obviously, so I like them. All my enclosures have those little windows on there. So I do it just so I can see what the dragon is doing while they're sleeping, while they're hiding away. It's also very beneficial whenever you have young bearded dragons, because young bearded dragons, when you first get them, they will hide away for a very long time until they get used to your presence. With this window, even though they might be all the way in the back of the enclosure, this window they can still see out of. So if they see me walk past, they're like, all right, this guy walks past like 50 times a day. I ain't ever going to get away from him. So maybe that's going to be important for that younger bearded dragon to get used to me as well. So I have, I don't know, several bearded dragons. So that's a lot. I have more on the rack over here. I have more on this side. So there's this. And then I also have to put together the baby racks that are going to be taken over. So far this season, I have 4 clutches of bearded dragon eggs. And it was started February 8th. And I just had another clutch laid the other day. And I have a female about to lay right now. So the season's already getting pretty crazy. I have another female here that's about to lay. I have a female over here that's about to lay. The only thing that's important out of a light schedule is that they have a night schedule. The night schedule can be however long you need. Lights, if you go to sleep at 8 and you wake up at 6 in the morning, that's their night schedule too. Don't try to change up their night schedule just because you're not giving them a 12-hour day. If that's just how your schedule is, go with that. Don't try to change it too much, because that's just kind of, I mean, there's no need. There's no need in changing it. They're going to benefit from a night schedule and a day schedule, just like we benefit from a night schedule and day schedule. Now, obviously, if your schedule changes, gradually change their schedule. Don't abruptly change it. Let's say you go from a day shift, you got to wake up at 6 in the morning, and that's when you turn on their lights. Let's say you go from that to a night shift. How are you going to do their night schedule then? Because you're asleep during the day, and if they're in your bedroom, you're not going to be able to sleep because they're going to have their lights on. So I've heard of people doing that. I've heard of people making their night schedule during the day. And obviously, with that said, you have to make sure there's no sunlight in the room. So if you got good blackout curtains, then that'll probably work out for you. But other than that, if they can see light, they know it's daytime. So you just got to figure that out as well. With all that said, I ain't got nothing else. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that I put out in the future. As always, peace. The light should be turning on any second now. I'm not too sure what time it is, but let's see what happens. They're not like, oh, it's a timer, so one of them's like a couple seconds behind, and then another one's a couple seconds behind, so they all turn on not simultaneously. So let's see what happens. All right. Usually it's like this side turns on first, then this side, and then the middle enclosures, and then the heat bulbs turn on after the UVB bulbs. So let's see. All right. What time is it? I don't know. I don't have watches, obviously. I don't know what time it is. All right. Oh, I hear him. See, this one first. This side, I told you, didn't I tell you? I know how my lights work. All right, then the bulbs turn on, and usually those middle ones are the last ones. See, this one. Everybody looks good. Come on, lights. Don't play games with me. There you go. See, I don't know what it is. They're always like weird about how they turn on. But yeah, everybody looks good. Everybody had a good sleep. There's some poop down there, some poop in here. I guess they pooped in the middle of the night somehow. I got to get to cleaning, so that's how I start my day every day. Thank you for watching.